Hello, my beautiful friends, it's Dr. Kwok here. So this afternoon I posted a video on YouTube talking about why I don't think it's a good idea for the Hong Kong government to try to use Mandarin to replace Cantonese to be the medium of instruction in Hong Kong. I then received a lot of messages from my friends in England saying to me that, hey, Rosa, what were you talking about? It seems like this is such an important issue and we want to understand what you were talking about as well. So there you go, my beautiful friends. Here is the English version of the same video. So today I want to spend some time to talk about why I don't think it's a good idea for the Hong Kong government to try to replace Cantonese with Mandarin in our education system, and why I do think there is a big chance to exacerbate the condition of dyslexia in Hong Kong by doing so. So in order for us to explore this issue, I think it's quite important that we understand what's the differences between the two systems regarding how we learn English or all the languages before and how we are going to learn English or other languages in the near future. So what are the differences that the government is trying to make here, and why I have such a strong view on this? And by the way, why I have such a strong view on this is because I have dedicated the past 10 years of my life to do research on dyslexia in the bilingual population. That's why I really have a strong view on the fact that we should really focus on building the language skills of our students so that we have a strong foundation to build the languages that they're going to learn in the future. So say like in the condition in Hong Kong, that would be the fact that we should really focus on building strong, solid language skills in Cantonese so that there wouldn't be any issue when it comes to the time when children needs to learn Mandarin and English. So basically, this is the model where people in my generation, this is how we learn all three languages. So say like 20 years ago, the government really did a good job in building strong, solid language skills in Cantonese. So the government really focused on pushing grammar, fluency, and vocabulary development in the children's Cantonese, right? So then all these skills will then be able to scaffold the development in English and Mandarin, and we were able to utilize all these skills to help our children to learn English and Mandarin. And then, in a way, that's the reason why our rate of dyslexia is relatively low in Hong Kong. At the moment, you would say potentially we will only have around 10% of our population that might have the condition of dyslexia. Now, what I'm worried about is the fact that the government seems to want to push this model forward. And in this model, don't worry about if you can't really see this too clear, because I'm going to walk you through it. So what the government wants to do now is to push Cantonese to be the L2, so to be the second language of our population, trying to bring in Mandarin in a way to make it to be the first language of the future generation. And of course, inevitably, that means English will then become the third language of the population. Now, why I have such a strong view on this is because if you look into the statistics, right, you know, scientists, we always look at the data, what the data is telling us. So if you actually look at the data, we actually got 97% of people in Hong Kong actually have Cantonese as their first language. So by using Mandarin as the medium of instruction, we are basically using a language that is not the first language of the parents and using that as the medium of instruction and trying to teach that to our children. Now, there wouldn't be such a big problem if it was in English, because I know that, say, like even in the previous generation, even in my generation, there is a lot of schools that actually use English as a medium of instruction. That's all right, because in general, people in Hong Kong are very fluent in both English and Cantonese anyway. But why I'm so worried about this is because if you look at the population in Hong Kong right now, a lot of them actually can't speak Mandarin properly. right? So basically, we are asking parents who don't really speak Mandarin to try to support their children to learn Mandarin, and that's what I'm worried about. And basically, rather than focusing on really building language skills that the students should have in Cantonese so that they can support their learning when it comes to Mandarin and English, the government is doing it in another way around now. So rather than building the language skills in L1 so that their language skills in their first language can support their language development in second and third language, then what the government is doing now is quite dangerous, because by using Mandarin as a medium of instruction, the students would inevitably have less time in learning Cantonese. So that means there is no such a strong foundation when it comes to Cantonese. And obviously, because you have a loose ground in Cantonese, then you don't have a strong foundation to support your learning in, say, like Mandarin and even in English. So what kind of generation do we want to build in the future? Are we trying to bring too much skills to our children? And there is really a real danger to try to do too much. And the consequence will be that we might actually exacerbate the language skills of the next generation. I'll see you later. Bye.